Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome to the fine world of avoiding penalties on Gran Turismo Sport. Yes, it's got to that stage these days where it really is quite horrific, the state of the system. We're going to just pause it there and have a look at Zocker 1990's stream. Now this guy, German guy, he streams and plays Gran Turismo as well. And I did watch his stream for a moment here and just check this out, okay? Going into turn one, and you know, he kind of just goes in there as you do, normal.
Yeah, 6 seconds, 14 seconds. Oh my god.
Nice one. And then, okay, the next race, started from second, and comes through, gets shunted from behind, gets shoved wide, brutally assaulted. 8-second penalty for him, but that's not it. As he comes back on, he's going to be handed another 10. 18 seconds, just a casual 18 seconds for this poor lad here, and that of course completely ruined his race. So let's see if that fate is going to behold me here at Spa for my race from pole position in the Red Bull. Well, it's actually a Super Formula with a Red Bull livery, so it's not really a Red Bull, is it? Okay, into turn one, La Source, the hairpin, the source of all carnage and penalties in the world. And we come through, and it's almost like my car didn't really want to turn. We lose 2 positions as we go down to third. Not ideal. It's pretty tricky to actually overtake in these cars. Even though they're all the same cars, they're pretty quick. And you do have the overtake button. I suppose you can just spam the overtake button. 3 abreast here, going up the straight. Oh my god, look at the radar, there's about 5 of us here. More like Ace Combat. I'm going to defend, go to the right hand side, and try to preserve my third place, someone on my left, and okay, no, we've just about got the job done. So no silly penalties for me. But unfortunately, with the current state of the game, it does seem it's probably it might be at its worst it's ever been. Although we keep saying that every month or so, it always seems to be getting better, getting worse, getting better, getting worse, getting worse, getting better. It's all over the place. Okay, I got a half a second penalty there. I did run wide on the exit of that left-hander there. So, okay, fair enough. At least it's not 18 seconds. It's not going to absolutely murder my race. So the main thing here, just trying to keep in the tow of the 2 cars ahead, through Radiono Rouge, and up the Kemmel Straight. This is where the penalty zone is. Just trying to keep as close as we can. We're only going to serve half a second, so we can probably just stay in the slipstream of these 2 guys and stay ahead and not lose any positions, which is exactly what has happened. But yeah, looking at Twitter recently, it seems like I only have to go for about 5 minutes before someone posts an example of a shocking penalty decision, and I'm really not sure what it is at the moment, because there was a while back, or not very long ago, where people were overtaking each other and there was a bit of contact, and the one who was getting overtaken would get a penalty, which obviously makes no sense. I'm going to look for a move here. No, not quite. That would have been quite a brave and late lunge on the brakes. But whatever it is, who knows what the hell they're thinking, because it's all over the place. I could perhaps suggest that it might be, it's almost as if Gran Turismo Sport is a test bed now for the next Gran Turismo game, whatever that might be. So one possible upside is that the next game might be better as a result of all this testing malarkey going on. If that is what it is, I don't know. But either way, right now as it stands, it is an absolute horror show here in GT Sport, and you live in fear. I think that's the right way to put it. You live in fear that you might just get a penalty at any moment for no reason. Okay, using our overtake button into turn 1, La Source, clipping the apex, beautifully done. Up into second, now we can hunt down the Dutch guy here, and this race would have been a million times easier if I could have just actually done turn 1 on lap 1 properly and kept the lead. Was on pole, was the quickest, but then I massively hashed it up. And we do have the advantage slipstream here, and the slipstream is perhaps another topic we can talk about, because I do think, and I think a lot of people think, it's actually too strong. It is way too strong, and it can be good in many occasions. It can help you to overtake people, etc. But it also has negative effects where if you're not in a slipstream train, then you're going to get left out in the cold, and then you can't actually race, you can't catch up with anyone if you're not in a slipstream train. People sit behind. It's sometimes easier to sit behind in a fuel saving race in the slipstream and just sit behind and not do anything, and then wait and wait and wait. So there are many other downsides to it, but as I say, I'm kind of looking forward now to the next game. We have had this game for 2.5 years. Hopefully it's not too far from the next Gran Turismo. Okay, but anyway, enough of the rambling. Up into the final chicane here on lap number 3. Catching up, as you should, on the back straight. It's a good flat out section here, and then another long flat out section here after the Lassour's hairpin all the way up the Kemmel Straight. So you're flat out for about, I don't know, a good 20 seconds here as we rumble all over the curbs. As a bit of overtake, and then obviously the slipstream as well through Radio and Eau Rouge over the top and tucking in as best we can. The problem is, at some point here, about a third of the way up the straight, we're going to start maxing out our speed, and of course we're all in the same car, so everyone's going to max out their speed, and I can't quite do enough. Looking around the outside though, going through the left, is he quite alongside? Into the right, there is a bit of contact on the apex, and I've gone wide, and back onto the track we go, and we're going to go down to third. Max Tawan with the penalty there though. I wasn't sure if he was going to back out or not into the right. Decided to keep it in, and now he's got 2 seconds. I've gone down a position here, losing loads of grip. Just shows you once you go off track, your tyres just lose all sort of any resemblance of grip, and you're going wide. You're understeering for days, or at least for a few corners. That's a massive exaggeration there, mate. Okay, final corner. You catch up once again on the brakes, and then there's always that massive concertina effect. Look at this as they pull away out of the corner. You're always going to catch up on the way in. They're always going to pull away on the way out. A bit of overtake button. I mean, there's an opportunity here. We should at least go up one position as Max will serve that penalty. He's very strange. We both have Red Bull liveries. I'm Alex Albon and he's called Max and he's from Holland. So this is a very unusual situation here. As we come up the hill, and we're going to gain this position, but can we possibly gain 2 for the price of 1? Getting the slipstream kind of blocked here. Is it going to be a Hackett and Schumacher situation? Not quite. Once again, look at that. We kind of both max out our speeds, and then there's nothing you can do. You kind of have to get alongside a lot earlier on the straight if you want to get the move done. And it's quite tricky following through this middle sector of the circuit in the slipstream. Of course, these cars have big wings, lots of downforce, and therefore it makes it hard in that absolutely filthy air just behind. So you have to kind of take alternative lines if that is at all possible. Later on in the lap, we come up to the halfway mark of the race. Look at that, catching up on the brakes through the right, through the left. We'll prioritise the exit here. A bit of overtake. Give it a little squirt, shall we? Over the line, fastest lap of the race. Slipstream assisted, of course. Into turn 1 on the 100 board. Clipping the apex, getting there in the end. And on the power, you can go all the way up to the yellow sausage curb there, and it kind of feels flat, but you don't want to go beyond that. Down the hill, trying to keep out of the slipstream because you want to time your momentum here. Look, I've caught up to him too soon, if anything, and now I can't get a slingshot. As we come through the little right kink, so yeah, that didn't quite work out. I caught up to him too soon, if anything. Go back in the slipstream, go for it again. No, not quite. I just went into the back of him, and it didn't quite work. So it's actually very difficult to overtake in these cars if you don't get that timing dead right. And that's exactly what I failed to do. I'm going to try again. Start of lap 7. Maybe I need to start a bit further back. So you might see me release the power a little bit here and stay out of the slipstream. That pulling to the left hand side, stay out of the slipstream. Come through Eau Rouge. I think we've got the timing a little bit better this time. Now use the overtake button. Look at that, much more of a slingshot. That's what you need. Although, at best, we're going to be side by side. This didn't stop me on previous overtake. Coming into the corner then, can we make it work once again around the outside? Oh, a bit of contact halfway through. We are just going to get ahead, are we? Looking at the radar, he's there and he just backs out. Sweep around the outside, and now we're going to defend into the downhill right of Rivage. Difficult corner, off camber, takes forever to go round. forever and a day to turn around that corner. But we have got the job done. Up into the lead of the race. As it took us a good 6 and let's say a quarter laps to recover our lead that we lost on the first corner. Didn't think it would take that long, but it is actually pretty tricky. You do have to really get that momentum dead right. And by the end, I managed to open up the gap to near enough 5 seconds. And it's going to be a convincing victory here for a certain Mr. Alex Albon in the Red Bull Super Formula car as we come across the line. So good stuff there. And setting a fairly decent lap even at the end there. The tyre wear isn't too high in this race, so it's actually not too tricky in terms of tyres. It's just a straight dash of 10 laps. And there we have it, 94 wins on the second account. Actually, my second account is basically my main account now. We're going to go again. We're going to go once more. This time on my FYH Super GT account, which actually, as I say, now is more like my second account. And we're going to be starting 15th. No qualifying time. There's about 6 of us here who haven't qualified. Going with the lovely Mazda 787B livery. Beautiful stuff. That's got to be worth half a second at least. So let's see what we can do here then. Starting towards the middle of the pack, and oh, that guy's gone a little bit early. No penalty though. I think he's managed to avoid that. But will we manage to avoid penalties here? Into turn 1. This is the guy we was battling with earlier on the right hand side there. Coming in, and oh yeah, plenty of carnage again. We just get through, and oh, that guy doesn't get spun out. A couple of 1 seconds here being dished out. But you know what? Like, if you go back to the little clips at the beginning of Zocca, that corner there didn't really seem any different than what he did, and yet he got 18 seconds. Then I don't know. It's like a lottery basically, and unfortunately for Zocca, he lost the penalty lottery on that given day. We've got German spinning out there on the right hand side. So we've moved from 15th up into 9th so far. That's not too bad a return. Going for the overtake button here. Might catch this guy unawares into Rivage. Slight tap of wheels through the corner, but we're going to get that position done. You can keep doing that. You can use the overtake button on lap 1 and kind of keep catch people unawares. But we settle here into 8th place. Take a look at this guy. Obviously very angry that he's got a 6 second, just completely shunts that guy out. We're going to gain position out of that. And we only gained a 2 second penalty on top of the 6 second he already had for that horrific move. And out of nowhere we're going to get tapped in the rear end through the source. And yeah, you explain that one to me, atheists. Explain that 2 second penalty for the guy behind going for a move out of nowhere. Yeah, I have no idea how that one came about. Maybe the game thought I closed the door on him. Who knows? Do you have to turn out of the way of dive bombs now? So I couldn't quite escape the penalty lottery today. I'm going to become another victim of it. And unfortunately, this is like the worst lap to do it. Lap 1 or 2, anywhere near the beginning of the race. Because now look, I've just dropped down. I went down to 13th, dropped down loads of positions, and we saw out. Oh, look at that! That's aggressive. That, if anything, that deserves a 2 second penalty. But no, it's clean. So we're going to continue here. Someone's off. More than one person's off. Coming down into Puon, and this is not a casual sight you see here. You wouldn't see this in F1. Argy-bargy. You know what, I can't quite exactly fathom how to get through and out of this situation here. It really is a bit of a mess. If you look at the radar once again, more scenes akin to Ace Combat avoiding missiles, it seems more like. As we come through the right-hander, we're going to settle in here. Is this guy going to go wide? Yes, he is, but he's going to recover. He's got a 2.5 second penalty. Okay, so up the back straight. This is a really horrendous group. I do not want to get lunged into this final corner. Otherwise that could spell game over for me. Into the fast sweeping left of Blanchimont, flat out easily in these cars. Coming up towards the chicane then. What's going to happen here? What's going to unfold? What sort of chaos? I'm going to go... Oh god, McLaren out of nowhere. And coming through the left. It seems like... Oh my god, there's about 7 cars on the radar then. There's a group... That's a gaggle if I've ever seen one. Of about 25,000 cars in one corner, even though there's only 20 cars in the race. but you get the gist of it. And we get it slammed into from behind by this chap. And for some reason that isn't a penalty, not for him, not for me. So you know, your guess is as good as mine as to what the hell the system is trying to work out through there. Okay, so tucking into that slipstream, which side is he going to go? He's going to go to the right hand side in his very nice Toyota F1 livery. And he seems to have more speed than I do, because he's smashing his overtake button, which is kind of not worth doing at the highest speeds. You really want to use the overtake button at the mid to lower speeds. And we're going to be aggressive with him, run him out to the edge of the track and gain back our 7th place. Now the main objective here would be, of course, just to escape the attentions of that group. There's about 50,000 cars in there, and that's not something I want to be part of. I do want to be part of the battle up front, and it was a 6.5 second gap, and just had to put in a couple of laps, and a couple of laps later, so about 4 laps later, we are here on lap 7, and we've managed to catch these guys back up. It shows you just how much time you lose. This is roughly where I was in the race when I had that penalty, when I served it. And it's taken me 4 laps just to get back to where I was. So look at this gap here to the Irish guy behind. Because I'm in the slipstream, I'm just gaining on him massively. From La Source to the end of the Kemmel Straight here, you're probably going to gain about half a second if you're in the slipstream and someone else isn't in the slipstream. That's how much of an effect it has. So it is a massive difference, because I was kind of even with that Irish guy, and as soon as I got into the toe, that gap got bigger quite quickly. But now it's probably going to decrease as I have to kind of wait and gauge my opportunities here to try and get past a couple of cars. So we have 3.5 laps left here. We're going to try to get past these cars any way we can. Now the main thing I've noticed when driving downforce cars behind other downforce cars, so like in Formula 1, and you notice all the top drivers doing it especially, I'm going to go ahead and move there, no not quite. You don't want to drive directly behind the car in front. Obviously you can't avoid it at some places, you can't avoid it all the time, but through a lot of the corners the top drivers are taking differing lines from the car ahead. We're going to go for the overtake button here. I mean, that's what it's for, just spam the overtake button, get the move done, ask questions later. So yeah, you don't want to drive directly behind. I'm trying to get my words out there. You don't want to drive directly behind the other car through corners, especially the fast sweeping ones, the medium speed corners. If you can avoid it, take a slightly different line so that you're not getting all of their dirty air, and you actually get a lot more grip for the corner by doing it. But it's quite tricky because, of course, most of the corners you can only really do a very limited amount of lines through the turn. But here we have another opportunity to go for a move. Is it going to be enough? We've seen so many times that once you get to about this point where that penalty line is, it can be very difficult. We've got to go fully into that slipstream as much as possible, but it is enough. And that kind of shows you really do have to be right in the toe as much as possible. And we've moved up into 5th place. Is there potential for 4th? I think there is. Let's run through this lap. We're 1.7 seconds behind. Through the right-hand rivage, over the right-hand side very quickly. And you want to avoid all those bollards. Those bollards on the apex of the corners there really do mess you up if you start touching those. Who on beautiful corner in these cars. The car just absolutely sticks to the ground. It really feels good when you get that one right. And these two here, this chicane, very fast sweeping chicane. It's not really a chicane, is it? I suppose it is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. But we are gaining here. The thing I want is to be within 1.5 seconds. He has made a mistake and he's got himself a half-second penalty, which he's going to be very frustrated about. And that's putting me firmly in the slipstream zone. And I was about a second behind at the start of the straight, and we're just gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. This is another flat-out section, long flat-out section up towards the final chicane, and now that gap is 0.6. So it just shows you how much you're gaining there. Braking just before the end of the shadow into this chicane, trying to find lots of braking references, and we've done a good job there of taking that final chicane. Crossing the line, 2 laps to go, lap 9 of 10. This guy obviously a little bit frustrated with his penalty. I think he knows that he's going to lose his position as we come up towards the Kemmel Straight. The top two too far away. 3rd is probably even too far away at this point. They are just going through Eau Rouge now as we come here about 3 or 4 seconds later. It's going to be very difficult to catch up with third at this point. And lots of classic liveries going on show here. The Jaguar one here, we have the Toyota one, or the 787B. And there he goes, serving his half-second penalty. We're going to move up into 4th place. But at the end of the race, that was where we stayed in 4th, and brought home quite a decent result given all of the what's the right word? Adventures, I suppose you could say. All the adventures we had in that race. But there you go. Another video all done for you, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you enjoyed it as always. Let me know your examples of the shoddy penalties that you've been getting and your hopes and dreams for maybe the next game, how they're going to sort it out. But that is all from me in the meantime, and thank you for watching as always, and do take care, have a very nice day, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.